Hello, this is Jim Craddock. It is Thursday, January 23rd, 2025, and I'm going to start with a warning that I'm going to be talking about uh, some uh, ways of passing away and some bodily stuff and probably a whole bunch of other stuff. All right. And you might not want to listen to it. I can't tell you where to skip to because I haven't recorded this. I'm guessing this will be at least half an hour long, given how verbose I can be at times. Uh, and so probably skip the first 10 minutes, maybe. I don't know. You know, skip 10 minutes if I'm talking about family and stuff, and then skip back. So. Uh, till you get to the beginning of what you want to hear. Uh, I didn't think this was going to be hard. It's usually not. Uh, anyway, so beginning. My name is Jim Craddock, and I have terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major, which has been removed from the diagnostic system sometime, I think probably in ICD 8 or 7. I, I don't know. I'd have to look real quick. Hold on, let me ask Grok. All right, I have asked Grok what year various uh, ICD systems were implemented. And Grok says that IC8 was 1967. I don't think the book I read was quite that old. I would guess that it was ICD-9, which was implemented in 1979. And there's usually some precursor amounts to that. Let me ask about that too. So, okay, Grok says it took about 2 years to implement ICD-8, so that would have made it 1965 to 1967, and then ICD-9 was 75 to 79. Uh, Given that I was in the hospital in 95 and these people, I mean, who would be bringing in a book from, the 60s? I don't know. Maybe the book was from 60s. Who knows? I'm just kind of trying to get some general things here. Uh, anyway, uh, it was removed. And the reason they removed it was because they reclassified it to something else. And that was polyendocrine syndrome, like a subtype. And uh, and that's because as an end result, it looks very much like that. And I'm sure that they thought, hey, we can kind of lose it in there, basically, uh, which is pretty much true because nobody should have the condition. It's iatrogenic, and and so it's caused by treatment, and so you have to purposely give this to someone. And I purposely gave it to myself in 1995 to save myself from another condition. After reading a very verbose diagnostic manual article on the condition and how they treated people, and I treated myself in a very bizarre way, which I've covered elsewhere. And it obviously worked to me immediately. I knew, and I knew that I would have a lifetime of difficulty from it, but that I had saved my life. And sure enough, I've had a lifetime of difficulty, and we're down to the brass tacks here. We're 30 years later, and the end game is near, I guess would be the way to put it. So I want to talk about this week. Hold on a second. I'm trying to pull up my little note thing because I had a few notes. There you go. Okay. So last time I recorded something, I was pretty sure that my stomach had stopped, and you could start to hear something different in my voice. But so I'm going to cover kind of what the article talked about the end being for these people, and how it just plays right along with the way my last week has gone. Not even a full week, right? Today's Thursday. But so the article talked about the men would get this postnasal drip for 2 days, and they would know that they're going to have to, they had to stop eating. Okay. And, and their stomach was going to stop, and that they couldn't continue eating because of what happens next. So what happens next, and I can tell you from personal experience here, is that your gallbladder is finally attacked by the system because it can no longer it's no longer getting enough salt into the fluid that's in your abdomen to cause you to urinate. Okay, so and it's been trying to add a little bit of bile salt, if I remember right, but finally it just busts wide open. And so let me cover what happened this weekend. So Sunday, okay, I start feeling horrible. Okay, so Saturday, chest pain. Okay, and then chest pain went away. I ate a big dinner, felt fine. I mean, generally fine. Maybe had postnasal drip, like I said. And then the next day, I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting to get congested with a cough. And I try to eat lunch, and yeah, for the first time in forever, okay, I can't get the food down. And that's where we were last week, okay? Uh, and so that night I had to sleep sitting up in a chair because I had this productive cough, and I literally couldn't I couldn't lay down because of just all the fluid. And then I in the middle of the night, so I had this sore throat, just really bad. In the middle of the night, and I will point out I have had no like huge amounts of sweets. Starting around Christmas, I just decided I'm going to let myself have some sweets. I know they're bad for the condition. They cause a whole lot of things. But anyway, and an occasional drink. I mean, like one drink. So I start, uh, I eat ice cream that night. Uh, and I ate a significant, I don't know, it was dark. I just grabbed a spoon, started eating ice cream. And because I was like, yep, this is it. And there's a part in the book where the guys eat ice cream in the article. And it says that they're kind of rushing towards their own demise. And uh, and I understand now why kind of what they're doing is actually appropriate for me in the next couple of days. But uh, anyway, I don't know if that was what pushed the gallbladder rupture over the top or whatever, but no pain associated with this. Monday morning, I get up, go to the bathroom, and my output has been limited. I'll just say that much. I've had high electrolyte for a long time, but uh, I had measured Friday, and my electrolytes were in the mid range, which is very rare for me, which means something's up. And that's probably what happened here was it finally just said, no, we need more salts. And so it busted open. And, I don't know how the ice cream wasn't enough salt or if that's because it's in I don't know what the difference is there. But I will tell you that in the morning, everything large volume, bright colors, like no real issues. Okay, and then the next time I went, honestly, I could show you a picture, but let's just say tea colored. Okay, like iced tea, like sun tea, and I'm gonna go into little details here. You might want to forward about a minute, but so I've dipped my urine over the years, many different times as I go through these transitions. And I'm very used to seeing the differences and seeing my ketones show up when it's doing that and everything. And but one thing I've noticed is that it's very difficult to tell exactly how much electrolytes are in it because of the fact that the pH, the strips are rather limited. They just kind of go up to a certain range and they stop. And you can cut it in half with water and measure again and stuff like that. But it takes a while. So my shortcut is always, and here's where you want to pause if you want to, is I just stick the tip of my tongue in the cup and see like, okay, how salty is that? Okay. And and I can tell you there's a huge range of variability there. uh, and when mine was measuring in the 1.1 plus type stuff, very, very salty. Okay. Uh, this was not like anything else ever. This was the most bitter thing that had hit my tongue in my life. It was like chewing up every medicine. Okay. And and so that actually confirms that it's bile salts. In case you're interested, feel free to Google, okay, what do bile salts taste like? And it'll tell you that they taste very bitter to tell the human system that they're dangerous. But here's the deal: is I had no like stomach, no pain, no abdominal, and you're supposed to, get enteritis or various things if something like that was to happen. And the deal there is that I have no circulation in that area. I've already had enteritis, gastroenteritis. I mean, in the lining, complete enteritis before, and it's dead. Okay, and I can confirm that was. When I went to the gastro 3 years ago, he did this thing. He pressed on my stomach, and he was like, "Have you ever had the lining of your stomach or the lining of your abdomen, get infected?" And I was like, and I told him, I'm like, "Look, I've never been diagnosed with that, but I can tell you that when all this started, I had huge burning all over my abdomen and stuff, and it was horrible." And he's like, "Oh, you would know. You'd have to be in the hospital and stuff like that." Okay, folks. Yeah, no, that's not actually true. That would be false. I drank water through it and ended up getting hyponatremia, and then I was hospitalized, and then I solved my problem. And so, never was I diagnosed with this issue. But as a consequence, what happens is that because your lining is dead there. You don't have any feeling in it. But what he does to test it, he runs his finger down your stomach. Okay, you're not supposed to be able to feel this feeling, uh, but it actually explained that in the article. It was like because of the way this disease operates, it causes the layers of skin to get so close together. Okay, so you have your outer epidermal layer, and then you got these inner layers. And so what happens is they're normally kind of like this. Okay, and so and what he's checking for is he's going to rub up here. Okay, to see if you're feeling that. Okay, well, what happens is it with mine is that they get so close together, okay, that I'm feeling it on this other layer of nerves, okay, and uh, and explained that in the book, and I probably didn't do it justice right there, but it definitely explained it, and it said how, and it's just yet another one of the reasons why that the diagnosis would be missed. Another reason is, guess what? Bile salts aren't on dip strips. They don't show up in a normal UA. They test for bilirubin, the conjugated stuff, and so this. I mean, it's just yet another. And it talks about that was another one of the examples of how it can miss things. You can tell my voice has been affected. Okay, this isn't the COVID, and it pisses me off that I got COVID. And because so those guys, they got the postnasal drip, and it said they would get some type of a cold that would last no longer than 2 days. And I think the deal is this general condition, it really amps up your immune system, and so you fight off colds really fast if you get one at all. And so, like over the last several years, no colds for me. I had the flu one time. But in this case, so I get a cold, but it's COVID instead, and which is much worse. And everybody points their finger at it, and they're going to say that this voice thing is because of that, but it's not, because in the article it talked about how everybody had froggy voices after this phase when they were talking. So this is me with my froggy voice. I don't sound like normal. So don't use this one for an AI to build my voice. Uh, but Okay, so what else? I've covered some of the things here. Oh, and so another thing about this is that uh, it amps up your immune system in another way, and so like when you get infected tissues, and this is true of like all tissue damage that I get. Okay, like your white cells, in my case, they attack it or something like that, and they just eat it away very quickly, and no infection can form. And to give you a great example of that, I purposely burned myself one time because to test, do I have this condition? Is this because it thickens your skin and everything? And I was just so fed up with where I was. And this was like 2018. And I don't know if I can even show it to you or not. I will try. How's that? So I put my arm up against a 450-degree oven. Okay, let's see. And you can see it just right there. Okay. And it looks really small, but it goes from here to here. Uh, and I just pushed really hard. Never had to go to the doctor, never had to treat it or anything. The wound literally just took care of itself. Uh, and that's a great example of kind of how it deals with damaged tissues. It literally changes your whole immune system. Uh, so I've lost 10 pounds or more in the last 10 days. Uh, and while I haven't eaten as much as normal or drank as much as normal, maybe, I'm still drinking and eating. There was only, so Sunday I stopped eating at lunch and I didn't eat again until Tuesday. Okay. But Tuesday I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And Wednesday I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is a combination of, hey, it's eating away at me inside, and I can't feel it at all. Well, okay, I won't quite say that. I do have almost just feels like a small scab, like that somebody that is open scab or something like that. Occasionally, like last night, especially if I twist, uh, and it's kind of right here. So this is my right side, right below, underneath my last couple ribs there. Anyway. And that's all I feel. And I did have a little brown spot right there, which is the weirdest thing on Sunday I noticed, which makes perfect sense because the gallbladder ruptured and some of those salts impacted everything. But guess what? The brown spot was already gone by yesterday, and nobody had poked me or anything like that. And no, I'm not going to show you. Uh, so anyway, so the dark urine thing, the people wouldn't eat because they're at this point that's all they've got left to generate energy for them and to digest their food. Okay, it's these bile salts. Okay. And once those are gone, okay, basically they can, it's going to go pretty quick. But if they eat anything that is sugary, they go into DKA and it goes even quicker. Uh, so far I've had eggs today because my urine is clear or almost clear now, starting today, and which means that I have very little of that bile salt left. Uh, and I will tell you at first when it was super, super dark, like I could barely go. And I think that's a kidney issue there, or not a kidney, that's a bladder issue. Sorry. So my bladder is acting like a kidney. So I get fluid into my abdomen and it gets pulled into my bladder. And so, uh, the which is supposed to keep working until I get the next phase, which the next phase should be huge amounts of ketones. And when those come, actually my bladder will stop working. And now then I become this closed system of whatever's inside me, and any fluid I put in there doesn't get to exit. And so this is the ideal kind of final environment for this condition. Uh, so that's pretty much where we're at today. I have a test in exactly 2.5 hours. I'm going to have an abdominal MRA. I don't know if this test is going to come off. Uh, because I'm so dehydrated. Uh, and I don't have really any circulation anyway. So I'll just address this briefly. Okay, so I told my doctor, my legs are hurting all the time. I know my circulation is bad. Can you get it tested? So he goes in and he scheduled me for not what I wanted. I wanted them to do the ultrasound circulation, so you actually see the circulation. Instead, they just measure the blood pressure in my ankles. Okay, this isn't good. This doesn't work in this case because what this disease does, and it talked about it in the article, it said that, basically as your liver, okay, stops doing what it's supposed to be doing over time, and this is like a long process, many years, your your circulatory system, so where you're, as you get out to your capillaries, okay, they act like filters, okay, to filter the junk out of your blood, okay, and so as they do that, okay, they fill up, and the capillaries don't flow anymore, and so you would think, well, then Jim, your hands should look weird. Well, you'll notice, okay, all my fingertips are red, okay. And I'm not sitting here doing anything that would make that happen, as you can see. Okay, but the real way that I notice it is what it talked about in the article. Is like as that is happening when you're in those phases, and there's probably like 4 times in my life at least where I went through long periods where that was going on. So it's like a thing that like it happens again and it gets worse. But what I notice is a couple different things. One is the flattening of my fingernails. So I don't know if this is going to work. Hey, it worked. Okay, so I used to have these nice rounded fingernails, but as you can see, they're flat. Which one? God, it's hard to do this. This one. See, that's a great example of just how flat it is. And they used to be these nice rounded fingernails, and now they're all flat. And my toenails are the same way. Okay, and what'll happen is you'll actually kind of see. I don't want to call it the death of the finger because the finger's still there and it still works and you can still feel. And it actually still shows up as having O2 in it, which is false. Because the O2 detectors are fooled by CO2 by carbon monoxide, and I actually have carbon monoxide in my system, and so and it's something to do with I don't even remember. There's a chemical reaction going on. My blood is so acidified that the oxygenation curve is like pushed up and to the right, I think. And if so, maybe if you look at an oxygenation curve, that'll make sense. But what it does is this, it allows my body to dissociate oxygen from carbon monoxide due to the pH and the pressures that are different. And most people can't dissociate oxygen from carbon monoxide, and they die if they get that in their system. But somehow this is more efficient at this pH. But I've never been able to get somebody to do it by blood gas. So the other thing it does is to your fingernails, I mean your toenails, is really noticeable, okay, in that they become vestigial. And I've mentioned this in other things where you can basically just go down to one of my toenails and rip it down the middle, like towards the foot, and I no pain, and it looks like I've got a fingernail, I mean a toenail, but when you rip it down the middle, you realize that it's not really doing anything. It doesn't have a quick, there's no pain, there's no stuff like that. So, anyway, I don't even know how I got on the subject of that. So, I've got, that's because we were talking about the test. So the test is, coming up, and a combination of those things of, I don't really have any circulation. Oh, I didn't finish. So I still have a pulse. So how do I not have circulation? So the way that works is, if you imagine all the pipes are stopped up at the end, okay, but the heart is still pumping, okay. So basically that's just expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, not flow. Everybody assumes it's flow. If they'd bother to put a freaking Doppler on there, they would know it's not flow, okay, but they didn't. So not my fault. anyway, so the no flow, and they did do a test similar to what I'm getting, except it was a CT and the guy stroked out from all the contrast. But they had to do a central line for it, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to do central line at this place. So, I may get there and they may blow up vein after vein and just, tell me I'm not hydrated enough to come back next week. Well, there won't be a next week, so we don't have to worry about that too much. Uh, so let's see if that's important. Okay, I got to pause. Just a moment. All right. I don't know where I was. I got interrupted, but the point is, I don't know if the test is going to go off. Uh, if it does, I'm quite sure that it should show irregularities in circulation. Uh, it may or may not show a lot of other stuff. Uh, but like right now, yeah, I've definitely got that pain over here, and it's a lot more than the scab. So just now it's changed, but it's fine. I mean, it's like I've had pain right there go 10 times that bad over the years, and gone and got my gallbladder checked and stuff and everything. And they always say, oh, everything's fine, your gallbladder's working, blah blah blah. you know so I know I have very, very high pain threshold. I know that in the areas with no circulation, I can't feel any pain anyway. uh so, we'll just have to see what the test shows. And if I can, after the test, I'll leave another recording. But I think it could go a lot of different ways. It I do hope that they're able to get it done. Uh that's kind of my best. So that's it. This is where family starts. Okay, family starts right here. I'm going to just talk about just I don't have notes for it or anything, but Jesus, I don't know why it gets really hard for all of a sudden. Uh, so uh, this is my son over here. Let's see here, right there. His name is Will, and I couldn't be more proud of him. He's a computer science major in his second semester, and this is going to screw up his second semester. And it's his hardest semester. Well, not hardest, most hours. He took extra hours this semester because there's one semester he needs to do that, and he chose this semester. I was just glad to get to see him make it through his first semester, and so proud. And to hear his stories and just know that he's fitting right in. He's joined clubs, and one cool thing, he works on it's like a doom buggy type thing that they build. Like they have to build all components of it, and then they go out and compete against other universities and stuff. Uh, and he's also in a robotics club, but that one's not, doesn't sound like it's as involved yet. Uh, but these are like competitive groups within the University of Oklahoma. So I'm really proud of him. Obviously, I have my wife, Kelly, who has changed my life, who who is so important. And then over here, you got my mom, and she has seen me through so many of these transitions, like nursed me back to health. I would just go basically hide at her house and in her extra bedroom, and I is like a cave because it does so much to you when you go through these transitions. And she's been my savior. She would make me eat and check on me, and encourage me to move around or do whatever, and I would eventually get there. Then you have my sister Bethany, and she lives in Texas. She's a school teacher. She's retiring this year, and I'm so proud of her. And I hope my mother moves to Texas to be near her. This is her awesome husband, Hugh, who I've never met a man like Hugh. It would be the honest truth. At his age, if you can imagine what a 16-year-old is in a 60-year-old body, uh, that's what he is. The dude plays video games, and I'm talking like Fortnite and Diablo and everything like that. He's a talented developer and coordinator for uh, his employer, and he's just awesome. Uh, anyway, uh, I thought about, I could show pictures or something like that, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I do want to say to my family, because I have no doubt about where we're at. Okay, I actually had a few doubts. Okay, because and my wife doesn't even know, but on Tuesday, so Monday was a holiday. It was Martin Luther King Day, and whatever, Trump got inaugurated. But uh, uh, Tuesday, I got up that morning and I was like, okay, I'm writing a letter to my boss, and I'm like, this is it. I'm not coming back in. I wasn't going to say it in those words, but I said it in words that mean that. And I have worked through some very difficult uh, periods of time uh, over decades because of this condition. First one was, I don't know, probably like 2008 or something like that. And then again, like 2012, and then 2018, and then, the last 3 years. And my employer has stood by me. Uh, and Jewel, who's my boss's name, uh, she has been awesome. She's a friend, honestly. I knew her as a friend before she was my boss. And, you know, I'm very lucky and fortunate to have her. And so, I just explained the situation and said, hey, I think I've earned the right to say, okay, I got to stop here. And, it's good because I had stuff to do this week. I had to get paperwork done. I have a pulse right here. Do you know what a pulse is? Let's see if that'll work. This is a pulse. And this is basically Oklahoma Physician's Order for Life-Sustaining Treatment. And I've got limited interventions on here with no intravenous fluids, which actually read St. Francis's system, and they will ignore that, which is just freaking great, right? Like, well, I have a pulse. So I don't know that I'll walk in there with a pulse or not, because they'll ignore it if they think it's going to save your life, and it won't save my life. It'll drown me. But I'm obviously dehydrated, so they're going to try to give me fluids at some point, and then the only place that'll go is to my lungs, and everything else is filled up, no room. And the tissues, there's no room in tissues. It's all apoptified. So you would think, oh, it'll go into the tissues, and no, like all my tissues are done. Okay, and that's why I can have so much energy with so little work being done by my heart. This is that my tissues, they're not even generating, and that's why like my tests don't show up inaccurate for my kidneys as far as waste products from tissues, because I have very little live tissues that are actually doing things that normal tissues would do. This is like a brain, heart, uh, endocrine system thing, and added energy from candidiasis, and it is a very bizarre system. And maybe that's one reason why they took it out. I don't know as far as but uh, so yeah. Uh, and I just explained to her everything and said, hey, if someone cures me, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I've got this test on Thursday that I'm very sure will show something. And if I make it to the test, which I'm obviously going to make it to, because, hey, just now got to the clear part. So that gives me a little bit more time. And I ran into a picture of myself from when this started. God, I don't think I can get it. Maybe I can get it up on screen. No, I'm not going to show you because my shirt's off and stuff like that. Let's just say, okay, so when all this started, okay, I had suddenly kind of ballooned up without even knowing it to like well over 180, okay? And then I had started losing weight before the actual kind of trigger on January 17th of 2022. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And uh, so I had a picture of myself about a month later. Okay. And I was looking at it, and I mean, this guy from there, from where I had got at my peak, which I never really thought I was fat looking, okay, because it was an all over weight gain of fluid, okay, but then after losing the first like 10 pounds or 15 pounds in February of that year, I have a picture of my shirt off, and it's like I'm already starting to look like I still look big to me, but I look uh, I don't know. Uh, just like a much different person. That would be the best way to put it. Than I look right now. I'm basically skin and bones. Okay, but here's the interesting thing. I said, so I have this pair of underwear, and this is a really weird story, but I have this pair of underwear, and when so the and what I found was that the underwear used to fit, and then like in 2021 or whatever, it stopped fitting as I got so big, and I just stopped wearing it because I figure, okay, I gained a little weight or whatever. Okay. And then once I got sick and I lost all this weight, okay, I started being able to wear this pair of underwear. A- And and my weight has actually kind of cycled a little bit during this because you go through more kind of transitions and you gain fluid and lose fluid and things like that in different places, even in this last 3 years. Uh, but for most of this time, I've been skinny enough, okay, to wear those. And once again, I want to point out that so I was, for most of the last year or something like that, I was right around 162. Okay. All right. So uh last night, knowing that I had lost all this weight, okay, and I'd already been wearing those underwear all year, okay. I went to put on those underwear and they're too tight. Okay. And yet my weight is even lower. I'm down to the 154-ish type ratio. Okay. And, and so what that is, and I'm not going to show you because I've got a nice shirt on and, I'm trying to be good about this. But so what that is I have uh, weight gain right in my midsection from fluid, okay, even though I'm dehydrated, okay, and it's not a normal weight gain that most people would have. So for me, it shows up in my skin. It's God, I kind of want to show you, but here, I'm going to take my hand up here. This is me pinching my belly, okay? I don't have any fat on me, okay? That's skin, and it's the layers of skin that have thickened this disease that thickens your skin greatly, okay, and it can hold a large amount of water in these kind of dead compressed layers of skin. And the reason you have these dead compressed layers of skin, and they're not dead, they're apoptified, so I'm saying that wrong, but which is essentially dead, but it's not they haven't exploded, they haven't been attacked by anything, they're just layered upon layer like that. And I've been noticing it, like feeling it, grabbing my belly, because you can feel if you get this kind of tube around your middle, right? Uh, so that's exactly what it's like. And so that was yet another confirmation for me last night that okay, yeah, this is bizarre world. Like, okay, yeah, Jim, you're not making stuff up. Like you really have a condition. Because if I have been wearing the skinny underwear, lose weight, okay, and put on skinny underwear and it's too tight for me, all right, that tells me that yeah, I have fluid. And Anyway, just one final story, I guess. Uh, and as you can tell, as the way this thing works, it's very when you get into these kind of phases, I get energized. And sometimes I get these like, but this, as you can tell, my mind's working, I'm able to talk, everything, and it's because I'm burning ketones. And your brain operates better on ketones. If you can go into ketosis, you will think sharper. If you've ever been on a keto diet, you'll have felt it. You kind of go into overdrive. And that's pretty much what has allowed me to be who I am for the last couple of years, is that I have this enhanced abilities, mind. And not only that, but like you're able to push through like the hardest of things is that nobody else will be able to push through. For example, Addisonian crisis, like would normally knock people out. Okay, for me, it knocked me down. Okay, couldn't breathe, fingers, hands, toes, everything like felt like that they were just numb. Okay, but by the time the ER got there, I was sitting on the couch. But I couldn't even crawl when it first hit. But my mind got me out of it. Now they took my blood pressure and it was like 80 something over something, and they gave me 2 units of fluid and it was still under 100 over something, which should have told them something, but let's just say the medical system isn't designed for things that they redact from the literature. Okay. And so if this had been there, I would be able to make better decisions. I definitely could have lived longer. Okay. Because there's definitely points in my life where I made a decision that caused me to go through a transition to the next major phase. Okay. And so if I hadn't made that one decision, which I made, okay, which I should have known not to make, okay, and specifically the one I'm talking about right now is giving blood in 2018. I did that as a challenge to myself to prove that I didn't have this condition. I failed, and I didn't realize it at the time because I gave blood on a Thursday, and the condition didn't hit me until like the weekend. And by then I was so freaked out about that I forgot about giving the blood, and it was just like uh, anyway, it actually kind of went away, and then it got a lot worse, and it's just hard to explain. So, the people should know about this condition. It should be in the literature books because the science behind it is ridiculous. The types of things that your pituitary can take over and do when basically it's given a way of doing it, okay, and a reason to. Uh, is phenomenal, and I don't know if it could contribute to anything, like solve diseases or medical conditions that people have that might be might gonna finish them off. What if they did this treatment to them and it allowed them to their hormones to control whatever the condition was, be that diabetes or something else. So I'm just really offended at the loss of science, and I've said that since the beginning. I'm here for the science. I'm here uh, because it's not fair that this condition is gone, and that people work their life's work on this huge study, and somebody that was holding a pen decided their life's work didn't matter and needed to be removed from the public space. So that's it, I guess. I don't know how long that was. I'm gonna hit stop and love out to my family. Please share my story with people. I mean, it's a ridiculous story and it's super complicated. And I hope AI can put all this together and summarize it for people and somebody can dig up the literature. I didn't do a good enough job. I basically should have just quit my job and toured the world until I found somebody who knew what the hell I was talking about. Uh, And I just, I didn't have the money and I was married and, that's a rich people's problem, unless you've just got really dedicated family. And, you know, I came from a working class family and you don't think that way. You think, especially I came from a working class family that worked, my grandmother worked for the medical system and you just trust the system. And so everybody trusted the system, and the system is wrong, uh, and doesn't know it. So that's it. I, I will, damn it, you better go to summer abroad, okay? And Kelly, you better damn well put in the pool. And Mom, you better damn well move to Texas. And Hugh, you better take care of my sister. All right. And I love you all. And I've had a very, very unique life. And I'm fascinated by it. And I think everybody sees that fascination and they think that I have some type of you know, hypochondria or something like that. But people that know me, that have seen me go through the things, they know something's there. Uh, all right. Well, that's it, guys. Test time at 2 hours. So I got to leave here in about an hour and a half. Bye.